everyone. I'm Brittany Berger. I am a content unicorn, content strategist, and my side passion is just getting shit done and productivity, especially online. And coming from the tech world, not being a techie, I always really needed to find a lot of workarounds and cheats and stuff like that to be able to do the things that a lot of my coworkers did. And Zapier has been amazing for all of that. So that kind of added automation into list of things that I love. And so then on the side of all of the content stuff, I started a blog about automation and productivity and came out with a course about it and all that stuff. It's my jam. Even wearing my Zapier shirt because I'm a nerd. I put it on especially for this. And I'm just going to tell you all the needs to know to get started with Zapier today. Just the basics. You'll be able to go and set up your first Zap in an hour, less than that. So in a nutshell, Zapier just lets all your other apps talk to each other. And you can basically build your own integrations between things that don't normally integrate, but you don't need to know how to actually build integrations. You don't need to know code and programming and stuff like that, which I don't.
I love it. I don't either.
I'd be screwed. So this lets you build your own integrations without knowing really how integrations work. And so I love it. So if you have two apps that don't have built-in integrations, like say Dubsado and Slack don't currently integrate, but now thanks to Zapier, I am integrating them together. And I did it in 2 minutes. Actually, this morning, right before this. So I was like, I need to set this up. So it connects to other business apps that you use, over 500 apps. And a ton of them you will already be using. Things like Gmail, Google Docs, Dropbox, Slack, Asana, Trello, everything that you use online. Because its specialty is business apps. And there's over 500 of them. So there's a ton that you can do there. So some of the ones that I integrate most frequently are Teachable, Slack, Todoist, and Trello, which is where I keep all of my projects and tasks, Gmail, but then you can also get fancier and connect to things like QuickBooks or FreshBooks or something like that. Just every part of your business. It's awesome. Your blog, your social media, it's all wonderful. And each automation is called a Zap, and it has at least 2 parts. The trigger and the action. So, and it's kind of in a format of if this happens, then that happens. So if you've ever actually used if this, then that, the basic Zaps run the exact same way. So if you've ever used that before, you actually already know how to use Zapier. So each Zap is, if this happens in one app, then this should happen in this other app. So an example could be, if I star a message in Gmail, add the email's subject line to my to-do list. So that's one that I use a lot to keep track of the emails that I need to reply to. And that also works with Gmail labels. So you could even label something like to do or to respond or something like that, and then it would add it to your to-do list anyway. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to how that works. Stop laughing at me.
I'm sorry. And I just remembered on Zoom that only one screen shows at a time. So I literally could be running around buck naked and no one would know. So
they'd know. I'd make sure they know.
That's awesome. Okay, go on.
Okay. So back to how you do all that stuff I was just talking about. So you set up the Zap with the trigger and the action. And the trigger is the if part of this. So you connect an app, say Dubsado, and the trigger would be if a new lead comes in. And then you set up the action. So when the new lead comes in, what happens next? So you can then connect it to any of the 500 plus apps. All of them have their own special actions and stuff like that. You'll see a lot of apps are more built out than others. Like some will only have one or two, but then really common integrations, like something like Slack or Gmail, you have tons of options of what you can do with them, and it's awesome. And that just lets you say what happens in this other app. And it uses all the different parts of the first app. So like I was explaining with the Gmail example, not only does Zapier just like add a random thing to your to-do list based on the trigger, you can also customize exactly what that task is. And it's all like multiple choice when you're kind of filling it out. So it's not like you need to know formulas or certain phrasings or stuff like that, like you kind of would have to do if you were writing an integration yourself. So you would like click, like if I'm going through the to-do list example, I would say add a new task to to-doist. It would say something like, what is the task name? And there'd be a drop-down menu, or I could just click on Gmail subject line or something like that. And that pulls everything in and then creates this automated workflow. And it's amazing. You can customize it and choose things based on what you want, add things to special tasks in the app, just whatever you would normally be able to do in that action, that second part app, you'll be able to do most of it through Zapier. So what are some other examples of multiple choice stuff? And it sounds complicated, but when you see it, it will all be laid right out there for you. Like it's literally drop-down menus. And then there's also debugging and hints and stuff along the way. And they have a really awesome debugger and troubleshooting thing if you get stuck anywhere. They just have amazing help and support resources too, which make it even simpler.
One idea I had, Brittany, too, because I wasn't able to do it on the Facebook Live, was to actually show someone how to do a Zap, because I feel like that's half of the battle for people is like implementation. Like, once they get over the idea of being overwhelmed by all the stuff they have to do anyway, the biggest thing, I don't know about you, but the biggest thing that I find is that people just suck at implementing, So do you want to do like a quick screen share and just do a quick run through of like how to do one? Okay, because I have Zap up if you want me to do it, but I think you should do it because you actually know what you're talking about. And I don't.
All right. Okay, so let me figure out how to share my screen. Share screen right there. It's nice and green. There we go.
Yay!
Zapier. So here's what you see when you log in. You can see just a sampling of the tons and tons of business apps that you can connect here. This is just sorted by the most used ones. And to make a Zap, you just start from scratch up there. And here you can choose a trigger Zap, and the ones that you've already connected to your account will show up first. So let's say I'm doing something for Gmail. Whoop. So here you see all the Gmail triggers. If you've never connected the app that you're using as a trigger before, you will need to just set up the integration before or connection and log in before you do that. So you just select in Gmail here. So a new labeled email, save and continue, choose an account. You can connect multiple accounts too. And now I choose the label I'm going to do. So to do, continue. And see, it's just all laid out right there for you. It just tested this. So if it by chance I had already messed up, it would tell me so I wouldn't get too stuck. And now I choose the action app. So what I really like is I integrate everything with Slack, and I just send all my important notifications there so that I know if I get like an important client email or a new course sale or a new contact form entry without having to log into those things like multiple times a day. I do not keep my inbox open all day. I cannot. So this is a way around that. So this way, if I get a new email or label to do. Let's say I had a VA who was going through my inbox and marking things that I would need to respond to. We would then set this up, and it would send me a direct message on Slack saying, hey, here's something that you need to deal with. So Slack. So that would just be Brittany is my own Slack bot. And so here is where you can pull in all of the information from the other app. Knocking on Gmail's door. So here you can see just all of the info from one of the recent emails marked to do. This gets kind of complicated, but look. Step one, and just added this. And if I want to add some customization, the Slack message could say, hey, here's something you need to follow up with. And it would just send a direct message to me on Slack saying this, and it would pull in the Gmail subject line right here. And there's some other options here, but this is all optional. Technically, I'm done. And so here you can test it. I'm not going to cause a bunch of pop-up notifications on my laptop, so let's try. Sometimes I have Slack notifications normally turned off. So, okay, so it does work. I wasn't sure if this would unblock and all of the notifications that I had snoozed would pop up at one time, but no, you can see that. So let's do that. Send it again, so you can see. Ta-da! And then I can log into Slack, into that notifications channel, and then that's a list of like all of the important things that I need to do. How do I stop sharing? There we go.
I want those snacks.
You can see the text messages. Yeah, we're going on our family vacation later this week.
That's awesome. I want to come because I just want the bread. Like, that sounds amazing.
Mondo bread? Oh my God. It's not actually bread. It's like kind of like biscotti, and it's chocolate chips. Mondo bread. It's a Jewish grandmother recipe.
Mind blown. God.
It's so good.
Oh my God. My best friend actually says to me all the time, well, and her family says, you're an honorary member of the tribe. You should be. And I'm like, okay.
Of course you are.
I know. Well, and I even have Zakor on my ankle.
I love it.
I am wearing shorts, by the way, for this video. Like, you just couldn't see that. You saw a whole lot of
Didn't even think of it.
That was awesome. Like, and it should just get the wheels turning for so many people, because I feel like until you actually see it in action, it's overwhelming. But once you see how easy it is, people are like,
yeah, and remember that half the fields that it tries to get you to fill out are optional.
Exactly. Exactly. The only main one I feel like you ever need is email. Like, and possibly a person's first name, because, you know, we like to personalize emails instead of saying, hey, first name. Like, let's actually use their name.
Yeah.
But that was amazing.